Yeah, let me turn off alerts. Let me mute them. And let me turn them off. That way, hopefully anyway. We'll see how it goes. But, so all y'all have been waiting for this moment. A lot of y'all anyway. What's funny is, I've already shared a guide. I had no plans on PvPing, literally. The basis of everything I've done for the last week, and again, that's why I keep saying, like, there's no guide to be made yet, because I just made a guide after I cleared my tier 100 solo. And literally the day after I posted that guide is when I didn't even plan on PvPing. I went out in the Fields of Hatred, had a blast, and people, even from that literally day one, people were asking what the build is. So again, the build guide is kind of already out there. Obviously not entirely, and that's why I needed, you know, a week or so to test some things and try to make it better oriented for PvP specifically. So here we are a week later, and definitely did make a lot. I feel like a lot of improvement, actually. Like I said, the first day I came out, I literally was in the exact same gear. If you look at my tier 100 gear guide, basically that gear, that entire setup for the most part is what I ran the first day. And then from there, I thought, like, that's where I saw the glimpse of, like, oh, this could be something. If I take away some of my DR, add some more damage, and try to find it and rebalance it for PvP, I think it could be something. And every step of the way has been awesome. The funny thing is all the clips I've been sharing, you know, over the past week of PvPing and videos and stuff, every single day I have changes in them, right? And they still perform that well, even with the changes. Granted, some changes are better than others. Obviously, that's what the whole point of the testing is for. So that being said, keep in mind, this variant is only a week in the making. It's still in the making. I'm still going to be trying to improve it. I still can improve it, especially with, like I said, gear and stuff. I'm missing close to 10% CDR, which is massive. CDR is huge in the build, whether it's for tier 100 or PvP, just in general. So again, I will be making a lot of changes. So if you guys want to, you know, follow along with that, tune into my anybody watching this on YouTube, tune into my Twitch streams, and yeah, we could try to keep figuring it out into season 1. A lot of things would probably change in season 1 as well, obviously, with the new gems and new aspects, and you know, things are going to change again. But the good news is, like I said, in the last week of testing stuff with this, trying to make a PvP variant, like I said, I definitely feel that the build has strong potential to be able to compete with even the strongest of meta builds. Granted, you know, there's always going to be kind of a counter to everything, right? But that being said, my plan is in season 1, I'm going to have different gear sets based on what I'm fighting, right? So, and that don't mean like entire gear sets. That just means like swapping out an aspect for a different aspect or something like that to help counter against super meta, like, you know, fully optimized players. Because I feel like I stomp a lot of people in the fields, but again, I've only been PvPing for a week. My gear is not even close up. Like I said, I'm missing almost 10% CDR, which is huge, like one of the most important parts of the build. So yeah, and that's just one, like, and that's not including, I haven't even tested all the aspects yet, you know, different combinations. But again, from what I've gathered, everybody I've come across, even like the super optimized, I have come across some really crazy, you know, obviously Hodabarbs and rogues mostly. But I will say, I don't feel stuck against them. I do think that I can counter them if I was fully optimized like they are. And again, I've only come across one barb and one rogue that I felt like, wow, I would have to be actually fully optimized to be able to do something against. That's not saying that I haven't been, you know, taken out by a majority of, or I wouldn't even say majority. I would say a lot of rogues, mostly rogues, majority of rogues. Yeah, I would say a majority of rogues were more difficult. Like in all of the fighting I've done throughout the week, rogues consistently were the most difficult. But I was able to at least trade with everyone I've come across except for one. But again, it's just a matter of learning the builds, because every build is slightly varied too, and the more I play, the more I'll learn about them builds, and then like I said, having something to try to counter that. And I'm talking like fully optimized, like the super sweat insane, you know, because meta builds are meta builds, but they're not all the same, right? And players are not all the same. So but at the end of the day, no matter how good of a player or how crazy of their build, how crazy the build was in terms of them having it optimized clearly, you know, because again, some are better than others, that's just how it is. But again, I didn't feel stuck by any means. I feel like I can compete if I had the right, you know, if I was fully optimized, basically. So again, that's the main thing to me, is the build feels, not only is it super fun and strong, and again, a lot of people I come across, you know, I'm able to take out even in, you know, 1vx scenarios, but also, like I said, the super sweats. I never felt like my hands were tied and there was literally nothing I could do to beat them, you know what I mean? But yeah, so that being said, like I said, disclaimer, like I keep trying to tell you guys, I've only been working on this for a week. That's why again, I didn't feel like there was any point in making a guide yet. I'm only making the guide now, even though, like I said, I still don't feel like it's fully there. Obviously, the season's only in a couple days, so maybe if I share this now, I feel that some of you guys that are gonna try to play the build in the season, at least it'll give you an idea of things to look for gear wise and whatever, so that way you can kind of set yourselves up if you're looking to try PvPing. But again, things are also going to change in the season, right? So again, tune into the stream and you can kind of see what I'm doing in the season with the build and where I go with it there, because again, I'm not hiding anything. Obviously I'm sharing this now, but again, like I keep saying, people in the comments on YouTube, in the stream, hey, let me see the build, let me see the build. Guys, it's literally brand new. And again, I did share my build technically. I'm just trying to test things and make it better for PvP, and that's what, again, the last week has been. So that being said, I'll go through my gear quick, and again, you'll notice if you watched my other guide, you'll see a lot of these pieces are actually the same. Like my helmet, for example, same exact helmet. Nothing changed. One of the big changes, if you've been watching the streams, you probably, and even in some of the videos, you probably have put together that thorns was one of the big things I was testing. I had a really good razor plate, and that's why I was like, let's see what it's like with thorns. And I do think that that's the right choice. Again, the first, I think, couple days, I did not have thorns, and I still performed well. But I will say, I don't know, thorns, you do have to take a lot of DR away, so you're less tanky, but against certain builds, like it seems to be helpful in a majority of fights, and it's actually really fun to see people, you know, kind of smoke themselves. So I think I'm going to continue down the thorns path, just because, again, it's super fun. It really is. But yeah, I got a lucky roll there, almost max, almost 13,000 thorns, which again is kind of why I started going down the thorns path, trying that out. My gloves, I did switch. I do have two sets of gloves aside from this pair, again, because keep in mind, I keep saying this, and even still, I am changing aspects around, and I'm changing Paragon board every single day. Currently, right now, because of the druids and stuff like that, and even the Hodabarbs, I wanted to try the 50% increased damage to them, basically because they're unstoppable all the time. It does, I will say, if you've watched some of the druid clips, you know, I'm going against very geared druids, no question about it. I do think that this switch, just that, and that's, again, another prime example of like what I was saying at the beginning of the video. I plan on having different aspects, like similar pieces of gear, just with different aspects, so I can swap them out based on, you know, whatever is the most heavy thing in the area at the time. If there's Hodabarbs and druids, boom, I'm gonna put these on. If not, I can switch back to whatever else it is that I'm going against, right? So for example, rogues, I was feeling like one of the things that might help, I can't remember the name of the actual aspect right now. Is it elusive aspect? Something like that. Something where you basically, if you get CC'd and you're injured, it breaks the CC. That's something I think that could help with rogues. So again, just to kind of give an example. And the reason I keep giving you examples and trying to explain the differences, because again, I'm not really certain on what I'm going to do entirely, but I'm absolutely positive that I will have multiple things in my inventory. You can see I even have another pair of pants, but that's just because I was testing 2 different sets of pants to see which one I like better. But again, I think a big part of it, if you really and this, I'm talking like playing like you want to be able to go against even the most of sweats, right? That's what I plan to do, to be able to maybe compete with it, because you're going to come across some people that are fully optimized, their build is just insane. And again, aspects are a important part of the game, right? So even changing one out will help, can help greatly, obviously. So, but yeah, just an example there. But so like I said, I actually have 3 sets of these gloves that are almost identical. One of them has heal instead of all stats. One of them has int instead of all stats. For me, the all stats is so that I can hit my breakpoint. I put it down here and in my boots. My boots are always going to be like this, all stats and dex. And again, the point of that, breakpoints in your Paragon. Breakpoints are important. I always try to hit them if I can. And so yeah. Aside from that, though, I feel like it's overkill. I did try all int. I tried a different wand with all stats and like swap that, again, switching things around like crazy. If I would have tried to share the changes I was making over the past 5 days, it just was way too much. I'm changing so much gear around. I'm changing so many aspects around. I'm changing so much in my Paragon board. Like it's way too much to try to share. And that's why, again, it just didn't feel right to share it yet. I do feel like the last session I had I was the most powerful yet. And today I will say, like, my Paragon changes today, I have not tried yet. I did test them against like mobs and stuff, but I didn't actually PvP with them yet. But, I do think it's going to be better. Maybe not. When I get to the Paragon, I'll explain what I had before. That way you can, again, get an idea of some of the things I'm doing with it all. But yeah, so pants, again, I just showed the other one. This one, so the reason I have Blood Mist is because again, CDR, I'm missing a lot of CDR right now. And that extra rank of Blood Mist gives me an extra second, which 1 second of CDR might not seem like a lot, but it is. It really is. If I had full, the almost 10% CDR that I'm missing, if I had that, I'd probably put Corpse Explosion here instead of Blood Mist. And again, that's maybe, I would have to test it just to get some more damage, right? Because again, it's all about damage to DR ratio is what I'm trying to find. What's the sweet spot for me based on my playstyle? And that's another good point, is this build definitely won't be for everybody. It's not like a use all your shouts and smash your button and kill stuff. There's definitely setup to it. There's definitely strategy to it. And especially based on from opponent to opponent and build to build. So there's similarities, of course, but you do have to read your opponent, try to read your opponent and play off of them, if that makes sense. But if you do it well, you can obviously do well. So yeah. So again, thorns on here was just to try it. My other set that I have down here, I took out the thorns for more damage reduction for the crazy Hodabarbs and stuff like that and rogues, just to see how it felt. And I will say the damage reduction at times, especially because I'm missing CDR, it does actually it gives you a little bit more, but I don't know. It's so close, honestly. Switching the thorns for the damage reduction on those fights, that I don't know that it's even worth. I mean, you could tell, the tiniest bit, but it's not enough to really keep you alive, I don't think. And that's where, again, the CDR would be, because obviously I'd get Bone Storm back faster, I'd get Blood Mist back faster, I'd get Corpse Tendrils back faster, right? So that's why I keep stressing the CDR thing is so important in the build. And that's absolutely, CDR and movement speed are the top 2 things that I would absolutely focus on first, especially in the season. Once you start getting started, CDR, movement speed, absolute must-haves. Obviously there's a lot more to that, but without those things, you're going to be struggling bad. And then for the aspect on here, obviously might, right? So another change that I did is, you can see my armor here is 8100, and it's a little high yet. I think you only have to be right around 8000 before you use a potion, at least for me. But if I drink, so what I'm doing is I'm drinking a potion. or an elixir that gives me the 900 armor, and that puts me right at 92, just over 9200, which 9200 is the cap for PvP, right? So I did switch that around from when I started. That's one of the major changes I did. In order to do that, I needed to get this amulet though with armor on it. So you'll see I have total armor on here, because I lost total. I used to have total armor on here, but obviously Razorblade doesn't have it. So I have total armor on my helmet, I have total armor on my pants, and I have total armor on my neck. That is the only way I can achieve, and that's still with a consumable, the hard cap of armor for PvP. I did try it with disobedience because that's what I originally did, you know, like in my speed build and my push build, I used disobedience to get to my cap. But in PvP, I went back to my VODs and looked, and it's not good. Like if you're in a 1v1 situation, especially against a rogue where they just come into burst and run, Hodabarb Sue, they just run away after their cooldowns. It drops off fully, and then they come back in, and you're sitting duck at times, especially if you get caught. So hard capping armor in PvP to me it's just, again, and not by no means am I a PvP god or anything like that. I'm just getting into PvP. I didn't even expect to be PvPing, but it's just too fun. It's seriously, it's too fun. I did plan on PvPing. I'm a big PvP. I like to PvP. Don't get me wrong. Like PvPing in any game is something I enjoy doing. But I didn't plan on doing it yet. Basically, I wanted to get my solo tier 100 clear, which we did. And then Uber Lilith kill, and then I planned on PvPing. So I'm actually PvPing a lot earlier than I thought, but again, it's just happened, I guess. But yeah, big change for me from the PvE, like when I first started to now. That's something that absolutely I will stick with, no question. Hard armor cap for sure. So we don't even run disobedience in the build. Instead, again, we're running might. And then boots, same thing as my push, basically. Got the corpse tendrils again for for faster CDR and max movement. And then again, the all stats dex is for my breakpoints and my paragon. And I chose to go with the movement speed implicit on here, and that's, again, I feel like the more movement speed you can get, and honestly, I might even get movement speed instead of barrier on my pants. I'm not sure yet, but that's something I might do, because movement speed is so important in PvP. I feel like that that's my preference, you know, in the past week, because I basically have these same boots except for with like attacks reduce it or whatever, so you can dodge a lot more, but I don't know, I just feel like the movement speed is better in PvP. The wand, this wand is actually finally, if you guys have been watching the stream, you know I have had a very bad roll blighted aspect, but you can see now we got a perfect rolled one. I haven't even PvP'd with this yet. We just got this last stream at the end, and I didn't even use it yet out there, but I've been using a terrible rolled blighted literally this entire time. All of it. I will say though, so some of you that have been watching the stream might have noticed that I swapped where my blighted was. My blighted actually used to be in my amulet, and the thorns, the needle flare, used to be in my wand, right? Well, again, I keep switching my aspects around. I'm testing things. I'm just trying to see what I feel is better. And because if I'm using thorns here, you're basically maxing as much thorns as I can. I just wanted to see what it's like having needle flare in the amulet as opposed to on here. And that's also because in the single target or 1v1 fights, I don't know how much or how quickly this procs. I'm trying to figure that out. I got to go back to my VOD and see. I need to see what it looks like down here, blah, blah, blah. Again, all testing. I'll figure that out. But I do think that, honestly, I don't know. I feel like having needle flare in the neck actually feels good. It does feel good. All it does is it gives me a 60% chance to proc again, really. So it just doubles my damage when it procs 60% of the time. And again, if you're fully investing in thorns, you know, I just wanted to see how it felt, and it does. I think it feels good. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay with that change yet or not. If anything, like I said, I just swapped this back up there, which I already have a neck piece I could swap out that has that in it. And again, I can make changes, but for now, today, this is what I'm going to run. And again, keep in mind, things are different today than it's been every other day, you know, last week. So, but for today, based on what I think is going to be better, these are the changes I've made. I haven't PvP'd yet. I'm just getting on, trying to make this video quick for you guys. I'm pretty sure it's going to be good, though. Like I said, everything I've done felt good. Just some things felt better than others. And again, that's why if you guys tune into the stream, you can keep a much better idea on that. If you guys come up with something, you figure something out on your own and want to share it, hey, I'm all ears. But yeah. And then for my rings, because I added this, I had to get rid of something, and I actually decided to get rid of Ultimate Shadow. So you could see, because my other sets of gloves have decay aspect on them, so I definitely wanted to keep decay, so I chose to opt out of Ultimate Shadow, and so I put it on the ring instead. Because again, if you've been watching the streams, you know I used to have that on my gloves. Well, I still do on my other sets of gloves, but again, all testing. And I feel like that's the right choice. I feel like it feels good, especially against like druids. This is like my druid killing set, really. Really. Hodabarbs works good against too. I did make another big change based off of last stream though for Hodabarbs, and that's in the Paragon. I'll explain that when I get there. But and then the rings are pretty much identical, right? They have max life, vulnerable damage, crit chance, and lucky hit chance. And then Blood Mist, of course, so that the Blood Mist, the damage on it isn't really much, but it does help you to proc Shadow Blight a lot more. And so that's big. But then the biggest part is the movement speed. You don't get any reduced movement speed in Blood Mist. That's like absolute must have. And then the shield, again, I picked this up testing. It's actually pretty good. I actually like it. If it had higher CDR, this thing would actually this would be like ideal. It's got perfect CDR close, perfect DR close, perfect DR. Thorns roll could be better, but it's still a good one. But the CDR is bad, and that's where I keep saying, well, I guess it's not bad, but it's definitely, I mean, missing 4% there, missing 4% here, missing 1 point whatever here, like I said, almost 10%. If I had in an ideal scenario, if I had perfect roll of CDR, I'd be at about 40%, which is what I have in my push build. It's night and day difference, because right now I only have 30. This variant has 30% CDR. My push build has 40, and I'll tell you guys right now, it is night and day how much 10% CDR makes. And I can't even imagine in PvP. Holy crap, it'd be amazing. But again, I only had a week to put something together to test things before the season, and this is how far we got. But I do feel I'm in the right direction, and if I fully optimize my gear and my Paragon and everything, like I said, I do think I can compete with even the meta builds, even the crazy optimized meta builds. Definitely gonna have to play extremely well, but at least I feel like I can contend with them, if that makes sense. And maybe not, I don't know. We'll see, obviously, once we get there, but I'm definitely not there yet. I do feel like, don't get me wrong, my gear is good. You know, we've done well, but I'm talking like the craziest ones you come across, right? To be able to compete with them, I think I'd have to be fully optimized like them and then play extremely well, and I think I can. So, but yeah, gear wise, that's all it is. And then obviously the shielding storm, that's like a must have. But yeah, hopefully that helps in terms of gear. You guys have been wanting to see what the gear looks like. Just hover over it one more time real fast. You guys get an idea. And again, I will be swapping these out. In season 1, I will have different pieces of gear that I'll be swapping based on what I'm fighting, right? If I need to. But yeah, so that's gear and aspects currently. Again, they are changing every single day. I've switched aspects and especially Paragon. Paragon, this is what a lot of you guys probably this is the juice right here. Again, I'm gonna disclaimer, this is all a work in progress. Today's changes might not be better than yesterday or last sessions. I'll tell you guys. Well, before I go through this one, I'll say what I had before so you guys can have an idea, because again, last session I felt the strongest. So I currently have Gravekeeper. Again, this is all testing. The last session in this slot I had Revenge, right, which is the Thorns one. They essentially do the same thing in terms of the rare node stuff. It's just the actual like implicit from it, or this isn't it. The additional bonus is different. The other one is Thorns. This one is Close Corpse. again, I just want to try it, see if it feels better. Technically, it has 2% more if there are enough corpses. Will there be? I don't know. That's, again, we're going to test that. But last session, I felt the strongest I've been yet. Again, I had Revenge instead of Gravekeeper here. Up here, I had Exploit, okay? Last time I had Exploit. Today, again, testing, I'm going to try Amplify. It gives me damage to elites, which from my understanding is damage to players. And then Curse Skills is a straight 10%, which I believe from my testing works with Thorns, right? So again, it might be better, it might not, I don't know. But it's hard to take away Exploit because I know vulnerable damage is so big in this game. But again, I feel like I'm shooting myself in the foot by not testing, you know, everything I can. I've almost tested pretty much every single glyph I have that is maxed. I have tested it, some combination of it, over the past week. So that's why I keep saying like I'm trying so much crazy stuff, changing stuff so dramatically that I didn't feel it would be a good idea to share anything yet. But now, like I said, I've gone through most of it. I feel like it's a really good point. I know I can still make it better, but I think it's good enough to share and that's why I'm trying to explain what I had before to give you guys an idea, you know, so you can get a better idea of where I'm at and maybe go there or start there for yourselves and then go in the direction you need to go, whatever. But so yeah, I had Exploit here before, trying Amplify. Again, I haven't actually PvP'd with this Paragon set yet, but I did test it, like I said, against mobs and stuff, and it felt good. And based on what I'm seeing damage wise, like I believe Amplify works with Thorns, right? Obviously it's gonna work with everything, but the 36 damage to elites, 36% damage to elites, I believe, like I said, goes to players. I don't know. We're gonna, again, all testing today. But so yeah, I had Exploit there before. Okay. The healthy I had a majority of the time. I did take it off at one point, but I do think that a lot of people talk crap on the potion healing, but in PvP it feels good, especially against like poison rogues. And the damage to healthy does scale with Thorns 100%. So obviously when you're not healthy, it drops off, which kind of sucks, but if you're playing right, you should be healthy majority of the time. And Imbiber, I think, is something I'm gonna have for sure. That's like a for sure. So again, these last two are maybes. I've swapped them out. Not really sure yet. Imbiber, I think, is gonna be a sure thing. Pretty sure. No, I'm not gonna say for 100% because I'm not 100%, right? I've only been working on the build for again a week. I keep saying that, but seriously, so many people could keep asking for the build. It's like, boys, I need to test stuff. I can't share until I test, right? I think that's something I'm going to keep more than likely, and in that slot, because 54 willpower, that's the most I can get. That's you know, min-maxed. This one, again, swap this out for today. I have had this in previous days, which is big because not only does it give me shadow damage, which is a big part of my build, but it also gives me damage reduction, right, which always a good thing. I believe I had control instead of this, and I will say I've had control a couple different days now, and control is it's kind of hard to get rid of it, but like I said, I'm just testing. Control feels like it gives me a lot more damage against a majority of fights. Not all fights, but a lot of fights, control feels very strong. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this over that or not, but again, all testing. But I have used this one. Darkness Glyph. I've used this in prior days, and I know it works well because again, shadow damage is a big part of the build. I don't think obviously it doesn't help with Thorns. I think control does though. Like when they're CC'd, right? So like Decrepify, for example, slows, and when they're slowed, I think that it does. So I got a feeling I'm going to go back to control, but again, I just wanted to try it. And then when we come down here, I took this off one day and was getting smoked. It's so weird because this one change, I literally went out and, because I haven't had really much issues with almost any of the Hodabarbs I've come across. And then one day I switched this out and went out there, and all of a sudden I was getting hit so much harder. I was like, what the heck? What the heck? And I was like, oh yeah, I took this out. Let me see if it really makes that big of a difference. I put this back in, and it was like night and day how much tankier I was. So to me, this is another thing that I'm going to absolutely keep. It doesn't necessarily have to be in this slot, but it's territorial is something I'm probably going to keep. So out of all the glyphs I'm currently using in the board, Boards aren't going to change. Boards are not going to change. The boards I have, obviously the starting board, and then I go into Flesh Eater, and then I go into Scent of Death, and then I go down to Wither. You can see I'm actually not using Wither for PvP. I feel like it's just, Wither is like, you know, over time, like it takes too long, I think. So I scrapped that in order to go down. Basically, I got rid of, if you've seen my PvE, my tier 100 build, I used to have a bunch of points over here. I took all those points so that I could go down here, and the reason for that is to get more max life, which has allowed me to get to over 17k life, which was one of the my personal breakpoints I wanted to hit. This allowed me to achieve that, and it also allowed me to achieve another glyph. So, and I feel like that was absolutely the right choice. But yeah, I'm not actually taking Wither, but it is the Wither board, and then this board is what is it, bone graft or something? Yeah, bone graft. Obviously I'm not using any bone skills, but I'm not in here for the bone skills. I'm in here for the max life and for the glyphs socket. So hopefully that helps you guys with that sense of things. Again, I keep saying it, but I can't stress it enough. This is all testing. Everybody wants to build. I'm trying to provide it the best I can because it's definitely not complete. I got a feeling though, if I do take something out for control, which I might, probably gonna be this. The reason I need I either need Gravekeeper or Revenge. Either one can work. Again, I'm trying Gravekeeper today. I had Revenge last time. They do the same. They give me armor. See the 200 plus 250 extra armor. That's so that I can hit my armor cap without having to use a ton of extra points. It basically frees up points for me to be able to reach, you know, down here and get max life and stuff. So again, it's just my preference on it. You guys can change things however you see fit, but I will probably try to make a D4 build or whatever of the actual Paragon, so it's a little easier, because obviously I'm, you know, you could see how it goes, but yeah, it'll be a little bit easier for you guys. Skill tree is exact same as my tier 100 build, except for the only thing I changed. So yeah, obviously you get Reap. Again, a lot of people dog on Reap. You know, hey, if you want to switch it, you go ahead. Reap to me is super important because it's on-demand corpse for my tendrils to set things up. But it also, not only with might, it gives me 20% damage reduction right there, which I can literally swing and not even have to hit anybody, and it'll activate might. But also Reap itself, if you do hit somebody, gives you an extra 15% on top of it, right? So it's like it's a very strong ability. Yeah, it's a basic ability, but it's very strong. Even tier 100, I wouldn't even think about anything other than it. I might try at some point like Blight or something like that for more CC. Again, in season 1, I'm definitely going to do more experimenting. So again, it's up to you. You could try things out, see what feels best for you. But for now, and what I know, like I said, Reap is very strong. Obviously you have Hued Flesh, maxed out Blood Mist, and up into Ghastly Blood Mist, obviously for the corpse. This is really the only difference, is I took out the Necrotic Carapace, and I put those 3 points up in again for Thorns, right? So right now I have as much Thorns as I could possibly get, and again, that was just all to test, and I do think I'm probably going to stick with that. I think I'm going to stick with the Thorns. It feels fun. Max Corpus Explosion, and then of course Blighted for the shadow damage, to turn it into shadow damage, and then only 1 Grim Harvest, 3 Fueled by Death, of course, down in here. Death's Embrace, close damage, but also damage reduction, huge. A lot of people, I think, sleep on that right there. And then of course Amplify damage. Decrepify is an absolute non-negotiable must-have. And then of course that's the bread and butter of it. Not only does it slow and give you damage reduction, but it also with your lucky hit stack gives you your cooldowns back super fast. A lot of people ask, how do you get your cooldowns back so fast? That's the key right there. And then tendrils, I actually have 1 point into tendrils, but because my boots have +4, it's 5 of 5, which again helps with the CDR. You will see it's 6 seconds. That I'd rather it be around 5, which again, if I get that extra 10%, it'd be much better. Especially setting up CCs and holding people down, locking people down. And then I use vulnerable damage, obviously. to get them vulnerable, because I do have quite a bit of it. Not a ton, but I do have over, you know, I think 120% or so. And then standalone, of course, because we are sacrificial, we have no minions. And then Bone Storm, of course, and then and Shadow Blight. So again, skill tree, nothing changed from this to my solo tier 100, except for I took the 3 out of necrotic and put them up for spiked armor. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think what else could I even share with you guys right now. Went through the gear, explained that the best I could, tried to stress as much as I could on I'm changing a lot of things around. At any given moment, you know, my gear could switch, and not even necessarily the gear. It's more the aspects. With like the gear, I feel like is right, but the aspects are what I'm changing mostly. Aspects and glyphs are the biggest things that the most frequent things I'm changing and testing right now. But yeah, and then Book of the Dead, I guess I could show you. I have Reaper sacrificed, Cold sacrificed, and Blood sacrificed. That's what I'm currently doing there. And yeah, that's about it, right? Like I said, I'll probably use a D4 guide or build or whatever it is, and put it in the comments for anybody on YouTube. If you are on YouTube watching this, like I said, hop through the stream sometime, check it out. Let me know what you guys, if you guys discover anything better. I'm all ears. If you want to see what I'm doing with it in season 1, because things will absolutely change in season 1. Hey, come on through, hang out, kick it, and see what happens. But yeah, all in all, I think that hopefully that helps you guys. Anybody, I know you guys have been super anxious. In the comments, it's been unreal. Like I said, in stream, people asking nonstop. In the comments on YouTube, nonstop. But again, I just hope you guys understand. It wasn't like not sharing it with you. It's literally, I did not plan on PvPing. I did share a guide. Like I said, my tier 100 guide was my starting point. And then so for the last week, I've been basing it off of that and then trying to figure stuff out. And obviously it takes time to test and try things. And that's what I've been doing for the past week. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, hopefully it helps. My plan is for the season is the reason I wanted to do this testing now is because obviously it's a lot easier for me to figure out as much as I can now. So that way when I'm leveling and you know, trying to get set up in season 1, I have a better idea of things to look for, you know, gear wise, just to make things easier. And then I have a better, you know, starting point so that I don't have to test all of this in season, right? Obviously I'm going to do more testing in season, especially with the changes, but at least I got to learn a lot and kind of get on the right path. And that was the whole goal of this last week. And like I said, I feel like we've made huge improvement actually. And some of that, a lot of that was from help from people, like I said, in the stream. That's what I'm saying. If you guys have any other ideas or whatever, hop on through, come on through, and I'm all ears. So, but yeah, hopefully that helps, and good luck with it, y'all.